I'm sorry about this. I just heard that Shirley MacLaine was coming back. So...
Well, I'm glad you put that away, at least.
Yeah.
Perhaps afterwards...
The Boston Strangler.
Donald can give you a nice, refreshing acid bath a bit later
Exactly, yes.
Now, Hollywood has gone Columbus mad, hasn't it? I mean, Brando and Tom Selleck and Depardieu, they're all doing their bit about Columbus, but you have anticipated them.
And I'm being another predictable person doing a bit about Columbus, yes. Well, the first show in the new series I'm writing, a sort of successor to the Tall Tales thing I did last year, is about Columbus, but it's starting off with him thinking that he's... he thinks he's an Italian, and he goes around singing Italian all the time because everyone else goes around singing. But he's in Wales. He's actually Welsh. And he, of course, Welsh people stay at home all the time, unless they're Harry Seacombe and they go up to the north of Scotland in a raincoat and sing, you know. So, but eventually he triumphs, and he takes some Welsh friends. Richard Burton comes to him in a vision and tells him that Welsh people can travel, especially if they arrive at airports in white kinky boots and short mink coats down to their knees. You know. So he goes to America, meets the Indians, who don't just smoke, but they're actually sponsoring incredible sort of cigarette sponsoring Grand Prix races. You know, they've really got, they're way ahead on tobacco, and so it goes on and gets stupider and sillier and...
And you play everyone.
I'm afraid so, yeah.
Now, sometimes I know you enjoy working with others because you did a scene in the film with Rosanna Arquette.
Yes, that was great. The reason I did the film, I mean, it was not the greatest scripts in the world. It made the Waltons read like Dostoevsky. And anyway, so, but I did it because Carrie Fisher and Rosanna Arquette were in it, and they were a lot of fun. Well, Carrie she was fun, but she was a dark little lady. She was like Edith Piaf, very serious, very well read, very intelligent. And Rosanna was also intelligent, but very ditzy and fun. And we had to do bed scenes. I was very scared of the bed scene. I mean, you know, going to bed with a very beautiful American leading lady and 50 other people in the room who don't speak English filming you.
One time you want to be.
Whatever turns you on, you know.
Yeah. Well, how did it go?
Well, it went fine, ish. I mean, I was really scared that she was going to take all her clothes off, because that would mean I would have to take my clothes off. And she said, Johnny, if you want to see my titties, you got to pay me a lot more money than they're paying already. So she just had this sort of slightly open shirt, and I had my Marks and Spencer's boxer shorts on. You know the ones with Mac headroom on them, you know? Will they have Mac? Thank you. He's wearing them as well. Anyway, we got into the bed, and I didn't know what we'd do, you know, just jump on top. Because the Americans have this, I'm sure Donald bear this out, they've got things like those things you used to see in the butcher shops. You see the lamb or the bull, and everything's divided into loins and stuff. Because when they do up contracts, like Richard Gere does a contract, he says, right, you can see shoulders, lower back, left buttock. If you want to see anything more. And the girls, it's even more complicated. Have you come across that? You heard about it?
I just have everything excluded in my contract.
Anyway, so...
Except face.
No, absolutely not. So, got into the bed together, and I said, well, what, you just do it, you know, but Rosanna said, we're going to do some business, because the sex scenes are boring if they're just sex scenes. So she rubbed marmalade in my chest and rubbed biscuits in my hair and ate bananas, as most people do. But my boxer shorts let me down, because they're the ones without a sort of button. And...
Something ricocheted off the
end of the story.
Yeah.
But she laughed. Oh, she laughed. But she got a good sense of humour, so maybe it wasn't that bad.
What an anticlimax, if you pardon the phrase.
Yes, absolutely, yes. Still.
Your next film role is as Keith Moon, I believe.
Yes, this came out of the blue last summer. I was summoned to meet Roger Daltrey, who has been planning for some time to do a film about the life of Keith Moon, and it had struck him. I don't look like it now so much, but my hair's longer and it comes down to the eyebrows. I look quite like him.
Good casting.
Although I can't play the drums. But Roger said he wanted me to play him. And so I just spoke to him today, actually. And he was saying that everything's going well, the money in America, and God willing, we'll be shooting it later in the year with, hopefully, our film director, who's well known to everybody here, but better not name at the moment.
Fair enough.
So, and I've got to learn drums from Ringo Starr and Kenny Jones.
What about research? Are you going to go mad and smash furniture and all that?
Yes, I'll have to meet all his pals, and I'll probably have to meet Oliver Reed. Now, the last time I met Oliver Reed, I nearly got my head kicked in because, I don't know, I used to work in Spitting Image, and one night we did this sketch. I was doing this film Castaway at the time. Yes. I was in it for 2 seconds.
Man in Pub, was it?
Man in Pub. does his research. Anyway, so but it was a scene with Ollie where he had to pour a bottle of lager over my head, very out of character. And anyway, the night before, I'd done Spitting Image where myself and this other lad did on Peter O'Toole and Ollie, after they'd been out on the town, they woke up the next morning and for a bet discovered that one had chopped his legs off and the other one had had a sex change. And so one of the guys who worked on the movie went and told Ollie this. And he told me that he told Ollie this. And, you know, I don't know if you know Oliver Reed. Yeah. I mean, we don't play snooker together. I don't know how he reacts to a situation like that. So he came into the makeup caravan where I was getting made up. And he put his hand on my head, and I thought he was going to crush my head. And he said, "You're a funny little git, aren't you?" But we lived it. We lived.
Very familiar, yes. Are the rest of the Who involved in the film? They're going to be in it?
Well, Roger's very resistant to that. What he wants is the sort of thing that Gary Oldman and Tim Roth did in that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern film, where you look at Hamlet, but from the point of view of two of the other characters. So what they want is mainly to be about Keith and his entourage and him getting drunk and driving motorbikes into Steve McQueen's garden. I don't know if you know that story, that he moved next door to Steve McQueen. And Steve McQueen was having a barbecue one day, and he heard this terrific noise, and Keith Moon had built a ramp up the front. I came right over and landed in the swimming pool on a motorbike. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Donald, you've worked with Steve McQueen, into whose swimming pool Keith Moon came by motorbike, which he must have been quite pleased about, because he loves motorbikes. Robert, did you get friendly with him?
No.
No?
No, I never got on very well with him, and I know actually Bonum de Mortuis and so on, but no, I never actually got on terribly well, but he was all right. I was very friendly with Jimmy Garner and Jim Coburn, but he was not easy, not an easy person.
John, tell me about the Spitting Image voices. Which were your favourites? The ones that you did, of course.
Well, the ones you like doing, like some people like playing football or playing squash or eating a certain type of thing. I mean, call me crazy. I like doing Keith Richards all day long. I just like being Keith, because that's why you impersonate people, really. If you really want to be them, and I suppose in that regard I'm a fan, because I just adore Keith Richards for reasons I can't really understand.
Just remind us.
It's because he looks so healthy. It's just that amazing sort of camp thing that he's got. You know. He does talk in sort of parlare, you know, the camp sort of language. In fact, Robbie Coltrane went backstage at Hampden Park when the Stones last played, and Jagger was coming in and out with his clipboard, you know, and being very sort of organised in his great tracksuit. You know, Keith and Ronnie were there getting all the rings on and everything. And he's going, right, we're going to run through the numbers around about 5 minutes, all right? Yeah, right, all right, Brenda. Right, we'll be there in a minute. Oh, she's such a tease. And he was selecting all these, you know those gear he looks like, he's just fallen out the back of a refuse truck, but it's actually, it's come off a clothes rack, so he says, oh, now what's Keith going to wear today? I think she'll wear a vest one with the holes in it, puts the rings on, and all this, you know. Well, he's not at all camp. I mean, he's, you know, many thousands of women around the earth can attest to that, but I mean, his behaviour is very sort of camp and funny, and, you know.
You do a fine Wogan, too.
But it's all that thing of looking in the camera and controlling it.
Dear Larry, dear Larry.
Yeah, well, I've Larry so much. Wow. You knew Olivia, didn't you? Yeah, brilliant. I was recalling a story the other day. I heard most of the stories I hear. I'm a second-hand Rosa from Anthony Hopkins. He told a great story about when he was... I was down at Olivia's house in Brighton, and he was running through lines with Olivia. Olivia was there, this huge play, Long Day's Journey into Night, and he had a few drinks, and he was lying on the sofa, and he was going, so I'm coming back to tell you, Edmund, what's the next bloody line? He couldn't remember anything. So he said, come on, I'll go and show you a few trophies, Tony. So he took him into this other room, and he had the sword that was given to him by Gielgud when he played Richard III, you know, which was Keen's sword, I believe. And he said, you're getting too good at this game, you know, Tony. If you get any better, I'm going to have to run your throat! Put the sword right next to his ear, you know. No, it's only joking, you know.
It's a little trick with the tongue.
Yes.
That captures.
You know that story about him at Granada TV? Laurence Olivier, in the early 70s, he used to have sideboards and black glasses and look kind of early 70s, you know, and that sort of, ooh, I'm glad those fashions are out of date now, you know. But anyway, he was queuing up at Granada TV one day about to do a telly-series, and this bloke came up to him and said, hang on a minute, it's you, isn't it? Said, yes, that's right. Can I have your autograph, please? Oh, very well, very well. So give him his cards and to Bill, fondest love and felicitations, Lawrence Olivier. Thank you very much. I thought you were Harry Worth. That didn't go down too well, you know. Well, he'd be very good at the window, you know, doing that. Yeah. That's stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll have the interval now and a chalk ice, and then we'll meet Natalie Cole.